wasting your time. Let me ask you something that might sting a little. How much energy have you wasted trying to prove you matter to people who don't even care? Think about it. How many times have you sat there, phone in your hand, drafting a post, or sitting at a table explaining your big plan, waiting for that nod of approval, waiting for that rush of dopamine that makes you feel like you've achieved something before you've even actually begun doing anything real? We live in a world that constantly tells you to broadcast everything. Share your wins, share your breakfast, share your grind, share every small detail so people can watch. But here is a truth most people avoid saying out loud. A lot of people talk about the work because they are afraid to actually do the work. They announce their plans because applause feels like progress. But applause is not progress. Applause is a distraction. It feels like success, but it is not success. Every time you open your mouth to seek validation for something you have not built yet, you are leaking the same energy you need to actually build it. You are giving away fuel while your engine is still empty. There is a real psychological trap behind this. When you tell everyone what you are going to do, like starting a business, losing weight, writing a book, changing your life, your brain reacts as if you have already done it. It releases dopamine. It gives you a small reward. You feel satisfied for a moment. You feel like you have achieved something. But nothing has changed in reality. You have not done the work. You have only imagined it. So you stay the same. You feel busy in your mind, but your life remains unchanged. You are standing still, high on the illusion of progress, while the actual progress is waiting for discipline, silence, and consistency. This is why so many people feel stuck. This is why there is that quiet emptiness at the end of the day when everything goes silent. No notifications, no attention, no validation, just you and your thoughts. Because deep down, you traded real power for temporary attention. But 2026 is not going to reward that version of you. If you really want change, not surface-level change, not cosmetic improvement, but real transformation, you have to learn something uncomfortable. You have to learn how to disappear. You have to get comfortable with the unseen phase of your life, the phase where nobody claps, nobody notices, nobody praises. That is where everything is actually built. Real strength does not shout. It does not announce itself. It does not need approval. Think about nature. A seed does not make noise when it breaks open underground. A tree does not ask for attention while its roots spread deep in darkness. It simply grows, quietly, slowly, powerfully. It builds itself where no one can interfere. So when storms come, it can survive them. You are supposed to be like that seed, but instead you keep digging yourself up too early just to see if anything has changed. You keep exposing your fragile beginnings to opinions that were never meant to shape your future. Then you wonder why your progress never stabilizes. You have to stop giving people access to your process before it is strong enough to stand on its own. Not everyone deserves to see what you are building. Most people are not thinking about your potential. They are thinking about their own limitations. And when you speak about your big vision in front of people who think small, they will not see possibility. They will see risk. They will see fear. They will see their own boundaries reflected in your ambition. So they will tell you to be careful. They will tell you to slow down. They will tell you to be realistic. And without realizing it, they are trying to shrink you to a size they can understand. Not always because they hate you, but because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Your progress reminds them of what they are not doing. So the first real rule for 2026 is simple. Stop talking so much. Stop explaining every decision. Stop defending your choices to people who are not building anything themselves. You do not owe anyone constant explanations for your direction in life. Your journey belongs to you. The sleepless nights belong to you. The early mornings when everything in you wants to quit but you still move anyway, those belong to you. The setbacks that broke you and rebuilt you, they belong to you. When you move in silence, something changes in you. You become harder to predict. You become more focused. You become less reactive. People stop understanding you easily, and that is a form of power. In a world where everyone is constantly sharing everything, the person who holds back information becomes the one who controls their direction. Silence is not weakness. Silence is control. It protects your focus. It stops emotional reactions. It gives you space to think clearly instead of reacting emotionally. But more than anything, silence forces you into the one place most people avoid, yourself. Because when everything else is removed, when distractions fade, when noise disappears, you are left alone with your own thoughts, and that is uncomfortable for many people. So they fill their lives with noise, constant scrolling, constant talking, constant distraction, anything to avoid stillness, because stillness reveals truth. You have spent so much time shaping an image for others that you may have lost connection with who you actually are. You may have been performing for so long that silence feels unfamiliar. But if you want to grow in 2026, you cannot keep running from that reflection. You have to face it. You have to look at yourself honestly and say, I need to change this, not for them, but for me. You need to reach a point where you trust yourself again, where your word actually means something to you, because how can you build anything meaningful if you cannot even trust your own discipline? If you cannot wake up when you say you will? If you cannot stay consistent when no one is watching? Real change is built in private, not in public, not in announcements, not in promises made to others. It is built in silence, in repetition, in discipline. You want success without sacrifice. But that is not how reality works. Everything you want requires giving something up. Comfort, laziness, distraction, ego. You cannot carry your old habits into a new life. This is where the stoic mindset becomes important. A lot of suffering comes not from events themselves, but from how much importance you give them, what people think, what they say, what they expect. But those things are not in your control. The only thing truly under your control is your response, your actions, your discipline, your focus. If you treated your attention like money, you would be more careful with it. Every unnecessary argument is a withdrawal. Every pointless explanation is a loss. Every emotional reaction to things that do not matter is wasted energy. You are not short on time. You are short on focus. And 2026 will test that. It will not ask if you are motivated. Motivation is temporary. It will ask if you are disciplined when nothing feels exciting anymore. Because success is not built in inspiration. It is built in repetition. Being consistent when it is boring is where most people fail. Everyone can work when they feel motivated. Very few can work when it feels dull, repetitive, and invisible. But that is exactly where growth happens. You do not become strong in the highlight moments. You become strong in the quiet repetitions nobody sees. You also have to detach emotionally. That does not mean becoming cold. It means becoming stable. It means not letting every external situation control your internal state. Someone insults you, you do not collapse. Something does not go your way, you do not spiral. You stay steady, because people who succeed are not the ones who react to everything. They are the ones who stay locked into their path while everything around them moves. And when you do that long enough, people will start to notice. They will see you changing. They will ask questions. They will wonder why you are quieter, why you are different, why you are not as available anymore. You do not need to explain it. Your results will speak. You must be willing to be misunderstood. You must be willing to be ignored for a while. You must be willing to say no more often than yes. Because every yes to something meaningless is a no to your future. You are not here to be accessible. You are here to be focused. And somewhere in that process, something inside you wakes up. A stronger version of you, a more disciplined version, a version that does not need approval to move forward, but it only wakes up when you stop feeding distractions. So make a decision, not tomorrow, not next week, now. Decide to go quiet, decide to focus, decide to stop performing and start building. Because when everything is stripped away, what remains is who you actually are. And if you stay consistent in that space, 2026 will not just pass like another year. It will become the year you finally stop becoming who people expect you to be and start becoming who you were capable of being all along. You have to accept that this path will feel lonely at times, and that is completely fine. You need to start seeing loneliness differently. Reframe it as solitude. Loneliness is when you feel empty inside. Solitude is when you are full of yourself in a healthy way. One is lack, the other is strength. Some of the greatest minds who ever lived understood this. People like Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Isaac Newton, they did not just tolerate being alone. They used it. They turned it into power. They scheduled time to think, real thinking, deep thinking. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you just sat in silence? No phone in your hand, no music in the background, no podcast filling your ears, just you and your thoughts trying to solve your life. If you cannot sit alone for even 15 minutes without feeling restless or anxious, then you are not truly free. You are dependent on constant stimulation. That is a chain you need to break. You should start practicing what the Stoics called the view from above. When life feels heavy, when problems feel too big, close your eyes and zoom out mentally. First, see yourself in your room, then your house, then your street, then your city, then your country, then the whole planet floating in space. From that point of view, most of what stresses you starts to disappear. That message that upset you, that person who ignored you, that small embarrassment, it all becomes tiny. It reduces the size of your ego and expands your awareness. It reminds you that you are just a small part of something massive, and most of your daily worries are temporary and insignificant. This also helps you build what is called cognitive distancing. You learn that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes your thoughts. Just because a thought enters your mind like, I am not good enough, or they are judging me, does not mean it is true. It is just a mental event passing through. You can look at that thought and say, that is just a thought, not reality. That is freedom. You also need to stop letting emotions control your decisions. Your emotions should be like passengers in a car, not the driver. They can speak, they can warn you, they can inform you, but they cannot take control of the wheel. You are the one driving, not your fear, not your anger, not your sadness. The Stoics believed most destructive emotions come from incorrect judgments. If you correct the way you interpret things, your emotional response changes automatically. So when something goes wrong in 2026, and it will, you do not collapse. You pause and ask one question: is this in my control or not? If it is not in your control, you accept it. You stop fighting reality. You do not argue with rain, you just use an umbrella. If it is in your control, then you act immediately. That is the dichotomy of control. It is one of the strongest mental tools you can build. As you change, you will also notice something uncomfortable. People around you may start reacting differently. Some will say you have changed, and you should honestly reply, I hope so. Because if you are the same person you were years ago, you are not growing. Growth makes other people uncomfortable when they refuse to grow themselves. Your progress can expose their stagnation. That is not your responsibility. You may even have to distance yourself from certain people. Not everyone deserves full access to your life. Some people only stay close when you are useful to them, not when they truly value you. That is a hard truth, but it is reality. Sometimes absence teaches more than presence. When you step back and they do not care, you get clarity. Do not be afraid of being misunderstood. You might become the villain in someone else's story, but still be the hero in your own life. That is fine. Set boundaries. A boundary is not a wall that blocks everyone. It is a door with a lock, and you decide who holds the key. In 2026, you are changing who has access to you. Stop explaining yourself so much. Constant explaining often comes from old habits, when you had to justify yourself to others. You are not that version of you anymore. You do not need permission to build your life. No is a complete sentence. You do not owe everyone access to your time, your plans, or your energy. Start building habits in silence. Wake up early and work when nobody is watching. Not for attention, not for validation, but for progress. You are not competing with others, you are competing with your old self. Become almost invisible in your process. Read, train, learn, build skills without announcing everything. There is a temptation to tell people your goals, but that often weakens execution. When you talk too much, your brain feels rewarded as if you already achieved it. So keep it quiet. Let results speak later. There will be days when you feel tired, confused, or mentally low. That is normal. Discipline is what carries you through those days, not motivation. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is structure. Learn to appreciate repetition. Success is not built in big dramatic moments. It is built in boring consistency. Small actions repeated daily create massive results over time. Most people fail not because they cannot do something once, but because they cannot repeat it when it gets boring. You must shift from being a consumer of life to a producer of life. Stop waking up and immediately feeding your mind with social media, messages, and distractions. Start your day by directing your own thoughts first. Take control of your mornings before the world takes control of your attention. No one is coming to save you. No perfect opportunity. No sudden rescue. No external force is going to build your life for you. It is you versus you. At the end of the day, the mirror test matters most. When you look at yourself, can you honestly say you did your best today? Or do you feel the need to look away? 2026 should be the year where you stop avoiding that reflection. You are building something bigger than just success. You are building a legacy, not just money or achievements, but a pattern of behavior that shows what is possible when someone decides to change. You are breaking cycles. You are refusing to repeat the same mistakes passed down through generations. And yes, you will fail sometimes. That is part of it. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every mistake is feedback, not final judgment. You are not trying to be perfect. You are trying to be consistent. Pain will also come, but you can use it. Pain can either break you or build you, depending on how you respond to it. If you learn to use it, it becomes fuel. There is also a mindset called loving your fate. It means accepting everything that happens and finding a way to use it. If something bad happens, you ask what it can teach you or how it can redirect you. That mindset makes you mentally strong because nothing becomes wasted. Move quietly like an oak tree, strong, stable, grounded. The oak does not scream during storms. It simply stands. Its strength comes from deep roots, not noise. You are building those roots right now, even if nothing visible seems to be happening. Growth often happens underground before it appears above the surface. Stop comparing your life to others. You are not seeing their full story, only their highlights. Stay focused on your path. Use discipline like blinders on a horse. Do not get distracted by everything happening around you. Protect your focus. Time is your most valuable asset. You can regain money, opportunities, even relationships, but you cannot regain lost time. So stop wasting it on arguments, drama, and distractions that add nothing to your future. If something does not improve your life, strengthen your mind, or support your peace, remove it. Adopt a simple mindset. Nobody cares, so work harder. That does not mean life is meaningless. It means you are free from performance. You do not need to impress anyone. You just need to build. Start now, not later. Not tomorrow, not next week. Start with something small and real. Clean your space. Sit in silence. Finish a task you have been delaying. Small promises, kept to yourself. Build trust with yourself. That trust is what makes you powerful. At some point, you will realize something important. Most of your limits were never physical. They were mental. The moment you push slightly past comfort, you grow. You do not need massive breakthroughs every day. You need small extra effort repeated again and again. Stay quiet, stay focused, and let your actions speak for you. The world will keep talking, but you do not need to join the noise. Your work will eventually speak louder than anything you could say. So the only question left is simple. Are you ready to stop talking and start becoming?